You don't notice it at first. You don't even have words for it. You just feel a strange tension inside your chest whenever life gets too soft, too peaceful, too good. Something inside you whispers, "Careful, don't relax. Something is coming." You don't know why you feel this way. You don't know why happiness makes you nervous. You just know that whenever joy shows up, fear shows up too. Like they're a pair. Like they're connected. Like happiness is the bait and pain is the trap. So you pull back. Just a little. Just enough to protect yourself. Just enough to feel in control. Just enough to make the happiness feel safer. But it doesn't work, because even when something good happens, your mind is already searching for the catch, the flaw, the danger, the moment everything falls apart. You can't relax. You can't breathe fully. You can't enjoy anything without imagining the moment it disappears. You tell yourself it's just anxiety, or overthinking, or being cautious. But deep down, you know it's more than that. It's fear. Fear of losing something you never believed you were allowed to keep. Fear of being happy. Fear of letting good things in because good things have always turned into pain. You don't fear happiness. You fear the drop after it. You learned early that joy is temporary. Peace is fragile. Comfort is suspicious. Love is unpredictable. Good moments don't last. Something always ruins them. Someone always ruins them. Maybe even you. And so your body remembers. It learned to brace for impact. It learned to expect disappointment. It learned to prepare for the worst before the worst even arrives. You smile on the outside, but inside, you're scanning for danger. Inside, you're holding your breath. Inside, you're waiting for the inevitable moment when the happiness is taken away. That's why joy feels heavy. Why excitement feels dangerous. Why hope feels like a risk instead of a blessing. You learn to survive by staying alert, by staying tense, by staying ready. Happiness interrupts that. Happiness makes you lower your guard. And lowering your guard once hurt you in ways you can't forget. So you protect yourself the only way you know how, by pulling back from the things you want, by pretending you don't care, by acting calm when you're terrified inside, by sabotaging good moments before they sabotage you, by stepping away before anyone has the chance to leave you. It's not because you're weak, it's because you were trained by life to fear joy. Because every time something good happened, it came with a shadow, a consequence, a collapse, a punishment. Maybe your family argued right after a good day. Maybe someone broke your trust when you finally started to feel safe. Maybe you had to grow up too fast and never learned how to relax. Maybe the people who were supposed to protect you taught you that happiness is a trap, a trick, a lie. So now, when something good happens, you don't celebrate. You investigate. You question. You doubt. You wait. You don't breathe into happiness. You brace against it. This fear creates a strange kind of life. You keep yourself small. You keep your expectations low. You keep your dreams quiet. You don't get too excited. You don't get too hopeful. You don't get too attached. Because attached things leave. Hopeful people fall. Excited hearts break harder. So you move slowly, carefully, quietly. You tiptoe through your own happiness like it's fragile glass. You don't let people love you fully. You don't let yourself feel fully. You don't allow joy to settle inside you. You treat happiness like a stranger you're polite with, but never trust. But inside, you want more. You want to feel alive. You want to relax. You want to enjoy things without fear. You want to laugh without checking your surroundings. You want to feel safe. You want to believe that good things can stay. But your mind whispers, what if they don't? What if you lose it? What if you get hurt again? What if letting yourself be happy is the exact thing that destroys you? The fear becomes a habit, a lifestyle, a reflex. Someone compliments you. You wonder what they want. Someone loves you. You wait for them to leave. Someone gives you good news. You look for what's wrong. Someone shows up for you. You prepare for the day they stop. Happiness doesn't feel like happiness. It feels like a test, a setup, a moment before impact. You don't know how to relax into joy. You only know how to stay ready, ready to run, ready to shut down, ready to protect yourself, ready to lose what you love. You learn that the less you expect, the less you feel, the less you hope, the less it will hurt when everything collapses. But something inside you is tired. Tired of flinching. Tired of doubting good moments. Tired of expecting disaster. Tired of living in emotional armor. Tired of pretending you don't care when you care deeply. Tired of missing out on life because you're afraid of losing it. You may not realize it, but everything you fear about happiness is a memory dressed as a prediction. Your body is not scared of joy. It's scared of the pain that once followed it. It's scared of history repeating itself. It's scared of the moment joy turns into loss. So every time you feel good, your mind tries to save you by warning you. It doesn't realize that the threat is over. It doesn't realize that you're not that child anymore. It doesn't realize that not every good thing is a trap. It doesn't realize that happiness isn't dangerous anymore. The fear feels real, and in a way, it is. Because it comes from a real place, your past, your wounds, your disappointments, your heartbreaks, your betrayals. But the fear is outdated. It belongs to a version of you that needed it, not the person you are now. The truth is simple but hard to swallow. You're afraid to be happy because happiness feels vulnerable. And vulnerability feels unsafe when life taught you that being open leads to being hurt. You fear relaxing because relaxing once cost you something. You fear loving because loving once broke you. You fear hoping because hoping once destroyed you. You fear joy because joy once came with pain. But here's the hidden truth underneath all that fear. You still crave happiness. You still look for it. You still want it more than anything, even if it scares you, even if it makes your heart race, even if every part of you tenses the moment something good happens. Your fear doesn't mean you don't want happiness. It means happiness matters to you. It means you have a heart that remembers pain, but also a heart that dreams of something better. You are not broken for feeling this way. You are human. You are healing. You are learning. You are slowly teaching your body that happiness is no longer dangerous. Slowly teaching your mind that good things can stay. Slowly teaching your heart that it's safe to open again. You don't need to force happiness. You only need to stop running from it. You keep telling yourself you're fine, that you're just cautious, that you're just protecting yourself, that you're just trying not to get hurt again. But deep down, you know it's more than that. It's fear. Fear disguised as logic. Fear disguised as maturity. Fear disguised as I'm just being realistic. You don't chase joy. You manage it. You limit it. You ration it. You treat it like something dangerous, something powerful, something that needs to be held carefully with both hands. You don't let yourself feel happy for too long. You don't let yourself smile without thinking twice. You don't let yourself celebrate without watching the door. You don't let yourself enjoy the moment without imagining the next disaster. You call it being prepared. You call it staying ahead. You call it protecting your heart. But it's fear. Fear that happiness will betray you. Fear that life will punish you for feeling too good. Fear that joy makes you vulnerable. You've lived your life waiting for the impact, The moment the good thing turns bad. The moment the person who loves you suddenly changes. The moment the peace breaks. The moment everything falls apart. You don't trust joy. You don't trust calm. You don't trust softness. Because those were the moments life caught you off guard. Those were the moments someone hurt you. Those were the moments you felt safest right before everything shattered. It's not just a thought. It's a pattern. It's a reflex. It's a wound. You learned early. Never feel too happy. Never feel too safe. Never feel too hopeful. Because that is exactly when life strikes. So you adapted. You built emotional armor. You built distance. You built a wall between who you are and what you feel. You became the person who always expects the worst, who always prepares for disappointment, who always keeps their heart half closed, who always stays ready to run. But something inside you aches for more. It aches for softness. It aches for real joy. It aches for moments where you can breathe without flinching. You want to open up. You want to trust. You want to feel alive again. You want to stop living in that tight, guarded space inside your chest. But the fear doesn't let you. It tightens around your heart like a rope. It whispers all the wrong things. It tells you that happiness is unsafe. It tells you that joy is a risk. It tells you that the more you love something, the more you have to lose. So you protect yourself in small ways. Ways nobody notices. Ways only you understand. You avoid getting too excited about good news. You prevent yourself from dreaming too big. You tone down your hopes so they can't disappoint you. You pretend you don't care, so it won't hurt when it disappears. You act like you're calm, like you're steady, like you're unbothered. But inside, you're terrified. Terrified of losing what feels good. Terrified of getting attached. Terrified of opening the door to joy and watching it walk away. You think you're protecting your heart, but really, you're starving it. You've survived on crumbs for so long that you don't recognize a full meal. You've lived in survival mode for so long that peace feels wrong. You've lived with emotional alertness for so long that rest feels dangerous. You don't know how to exist without tension, without fear, without preparation, without waiting for disaster. You've mistaken numbness for strength. You've mistaken avoidance for intelligence. You've mistaken emotional distance for protection. You've forgotten what it feels like to truly live. With your chest open, with your heart soft, with your guard down, with your feet grounded instead of ready to run. Sometimes you catch yourself smiling, really smiling, and you freeze. You pull yourself back. You stop. You correct your posture. You remind yourself not to get attached, not to trust it, not to believe it'll last. You feel happiness rising in you, and you slam the door shut before it gets too loud. You stop the joy mid-breath, mid-moment, mid-heartbeat, because happiness feels like danger wearing perfume. You've learned to hold everything lightly, just in case, to never grip too tight, to never lean too far, to never fully show up in joy. Even in love, you hold back. You stay half present. You keep one foot out the door. You prepare for the goodbye before the hello is even warm. You tell yourself it's just caution, but it's fear. Fear of what love could take from you if you let it in. You've watched people leave. You've watched promises break. You've watched trust collapse. You've watched good moments turn into memories too painful to revisit. So now, when life gives you something good, you don't feel lucky. You feel nervous. You wait for a sign, a slip, a crack, a shift in tone, anything that confirms what you already believe, that happiness can't be trusted. You think you're pessimistic, but really, you're wounded. You think you're negative, but really, You're scared. You think you're logical. But really, you're protecting a heart that's been hurt too many times. But here's the quiet truth buried under all that fear. You deserve happiness that doesn't scare you. You deserve joy that doesn't feel like a threat. You deserve peace that doesn't feel suspicious. You deserve love that doesn't feel like a countdown to heartbreak. You deserve a life where happiness isn't a warning sign. But to reach that life, you need something nobody taught you. You need to learn how to feel safe in joy, how to stay when something feels good, how to receive love instead of bracing for loss, how to let happiness touch you without making a fist around your heart. The first step isn't forcing joy. It's noticing when you run from it, noticing the moment your body tenses, noticing the instant your mind jumps to disaster, noticing when you sabotage a good moment before it has the chance to breathe. Notice the pattern. Notice the fear. Notice the memory behind the fear. And then tell yourself gently, this is not then, this is now. Your fear comes from an older version of you, a version that went through things you didn't deserve, a version that learned to expect pain, a version that believed happiness was a warning, not a blessing. But you're not that version anymore. You've grown, you've healed, you've survived things that should have broken you. You're stronger now, wiser now, more aware now, and you're allowed to have a new relationship with joy. It won't happen overnight. It won't happen after one moment of courage. It won't happen just because you tell yourself to relax. It happens slowly, softly, quietly, in small moments, in tiny decisions, in gentle breaths. It happens when you let yourself feel a little more, when you allow the good moment to last 1 second longer than usual, when you lean in instead of pulling back, when you let someone's kindness land in your chest instead of brushing it away, when you smile without apologizing for it, when you let yourself enjoy something simple, when you stop analyzing every good thing to death. It happens when you stop punishing yourself for being happy. You've spent years preparing for disasters that never came, years choosing fear over joy, years making sure you never get blindsided, years keeping your heart wrapped in rules. But happiness shouldn't be something you're scared to lose. It should be something you're allowed to feel. You don't need to be ready for loss anymore. You don't need to predict heartbreak. You don't need to sabotage the good moments before they bloom. You don't need to protect yourself from joy. You need to protect your joy from your fear. You've lived long enough in survival mode, long enough in fear, long enough in emotional tightness. You deserve softness. You deserve moments of lightness where you don't brace for impact. You deserve mornings where your chest doesn't feel heavy. You deserve love that doesn't make you panic. You deserve peace that doesn't feel like a trick. You're allowed to trust happiness again, even if it scares you, even if it feels unfamiliar, even if your mind whispers warnings, even if your past screams at you to be careful. You're allowed to feel joy without fear. You're allowed to stop waiting for things to go wrong. You're allowed to experience good moments fully. You're allowed to live instead of anticipate loss. You're allowed to be happy, even if you don't know how to hold it yet, even if you tremble when it comes near, even if your body doesn't know how to relax in it, even if your mind argues, even if your heart is scared. You can learn, slowly, softly, gently, one breath at a time. Life won't punish you for feeling good. Your happiness is not a countdown. Your joy is not a warning sign. Your peace is not a trap. You are not running out of time to be happy. You are simply learning how to let happiness in. And that counts. That matters. That is enough. You don't need to earn joy. You don't need to deserve it. You don't need to justify it. You don't need to prepare for its end. You only need to allow it. Because happiness isn't the thing that hurts you. The fear is. The bracing is, the running is, the expecting loss is, but joy itself, joy has always been innocent. Joy has always been waiting for you. Joy has always been trying to reach you. And now, for the first time in a long time, you're ready to reach back. Not perfectly, not confidently, not boldly, but slowly, tenderly. With a heart that's scared but willing. You don't need to master happiness. You only need to let it touch you, just a little, just enough. Because even the smallest bit of joy has the power to heal you, to soften you, to open you, to remind you that you are still alive, that you still deserve good things, that you still have time to feel everything you once avoided. You are not too late. You are not broken. You are not doomed to fear. You are simply becoming someone new, someone softer, someone braver, someone who knows that joy is not the enemy. You are learning to trust life again. And that is the beginning of true happiness.